when it comes to any AI use cases, first mile and last mile matters a lot because what we choose to solve, who we sit with to choose what we need to solve is equally important. And we should not forget the last mile, which is like if you build everything, does it really fit into production? The real world and all the rehearsals that happen on your sandboxes and back the screen both should work in tandem, right? So I think first mile and last mile is really important when it comes to real world AI use cases.
Well, I agree with that, Waseem. And I think what is happening right now is because of technology and AI, it's accelerating what is required from human beings. So it's no more your expertise about a tool or a technology. It's more what you know about the business. It's more how you can benefit the business from what you know. So that's why we see the talent is shifting from being too technical to, let's say, business aligned, right? With the high cost of AI, it's the ROI is quite challenging for a lot of CIOs, CTOs. And for that, there has to be a regrouping or restructuring, a new architecture of how the digital team should look like, starting from what skills to what competencies to how do they prioritize the AI use cases, to how they implement it, to I mean, again, there is an impact because everybody, when they think about technology, they look for an impact, right? But it's a language.
They think of tools as well.
True. But the language that the digital team is speaking now has to be more aligned with business because AI is providing speed. And that is something which is new, right? I mean, an ERP implementation used to take the best
years,
right? But now you could you build a AI use case in 1 week or 5 days. So how do you bring it into production? How does business align with that? How do you do the adoption? How do you deal with resistance to change?
Right.
All those factors, are new mandates for the CIOs and CDOs.
And to that matter, it's everyone because you said resistance to change, right? I was just thinking that this era of AI and use cases and delivery pressure and keeping up to the competition is putting all of us in the uncomfortable state. Why do I say that? For the technical guys, like you said, they should be thinking more business problems. They should be living their life in business and not on the systems. At the same time, we go ask business like, what problems do I solve? They don't know. They're happy with what they have. Their revenues are coming. Their bottom lines are met, right? So this puts us into uncomfortable situation for sure. But I think that is where we need to thrive a lot in upskilling people, technical guys on how to speak business language, business people on how to come up with challenges, be vulnerable, don't feel insecure, don't fear that you're getting exposed, right? Just throw your challenges, your day-to-day life, and leave it to the people who are experts of the systems to say how systems can solve their problems. And end of the day, how do we measure this is really important. We ship a product, we launch it, it's running successfully, and you say that, wow, it has changed something. As long as you cannot materialize what that change is in terms of your revenue or in terms of your bottom line, it's just another fancy tool or it's just like a painting in the wall.
Yeah. And one of the additional challenges is digital team is now talking to two new layers, which was not the case before, right? I know we talk technically about data governance, right? When it comes to data science, when it comes to governing an AI model, but now there is also the corporate governance, right? I mean, think about it. In a RACI matrix, responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed, now AI can make a decision on your behalf. Right. How do you govern that? It was a human being. It's either CFO, CEO, a head of procurement, right? But now it could be an AI model. How do you reshape? How do you talk to the governance team and tell them? Moreover, you also have access to the board because you're accelerating decision making, right? Business growth could happen easily with AI. I mean, there are many use cases. So how are you also equipped to talk to the board? How are you equipped to talk to the shareholders? These are all additional skills that are...
And these are the challenges as well for AI adoption. If you see the confidence and the comfort and the relevance to everybody's job, and the first thing, human in the loop, nobody wants to expect being sidelined and everything happening on its own. That can never be the case because that will take away the confidence in people that their job means nothing when a machine can do everything, right? So winning people on all of these fronts is one of the biggest challenge which we deal today in the AI use case implementations.
Yeah. So going to the architecture of talent, I think it's not about a hierarchy anymore. It's about a network, a neural network, a dependencies, collaboration, a cross-functional integration, where you're not only talking digital all the time, you're talking business. You're seeing how the business is progressing or how the business is being impacted by AI use cases. This is the architecture that can make or break an organization adapting or adopting AI.
Right. And at the same time, we always say the models don't fail, systems do. Why do we say that? Because proper data wouldn't be in place. Biggest factor is where is the incentive for people to actually accept it? As long as there is no incentive, nobody is going to accept it. You will always face resistance in terms of some excuses, in terms of inefficiency, and it might come out as a surprise that this is not what we want and everything. So winning people is also equally important as we want to keep the systems clean.
Totally agree. So, my advice for people is AI is here to stay. It doesn't have to scare you. It's something that will and can add value if you understand how to benefit from it. Make baby steps. Don't only focus on the cost and the impact. Bring the team with you. Create a platform where people would understand the value that it can bring to them. What is it in it for me? This is very important. Create work around lobbying. Bring people to the AI. Don't bring AI to the people.
Right.
This is very important. And slowly work on adoption. Devise some metrics to measure progress so that people will not be scared to resistance. You want people on your side. You don't want people to be scared from what you're doing.
Exactly.
Be transparent, communicate frequently, and this is also one of the very important skills leaders are required to have, because before, you're working on your desk, writing a code, solving a problem, right? And when the final product is there, you open it for user acceptance test. But now it's no more like that. It's more about discussions. It's more about brainstorming. You need to bring the business in. You need them to feel the value and the benefit of the change.
At the same time, you said a really good point that we need to make them feel comfortable. So that means we should show them that we are on their side, helping them to accelerate. So we as tech people, our job is to multiply. If there is a lot of efficiency in the process, we multiply it. If there is a lot of inefficiency in the process, unfortunately, we multiply that too. So we make it more messier, right? So yes, tech teams should put simple governance and let the business teams adopt AI, use AI comfortably while they operate within the guardrails that we have set so that they don't expose themselves too much on it.
Yeah. And I would like to bring in a funny story. So whenever we work in data, and we build either dashboards or we bring in a report, and we bring in also our interpretation about the data, right? Which of course represents the business or our understanding of the business. I mean, you look at the faces of the business people in the room and you see, they're scared because they feel exposed, right? Like, how could a digital person or an IT person understand the business better than us, right? We all learn things the hard way, and I went and I changed it in a different way. I was like, let's call it a brainstorming session. These are the available analytics. What do you think? What does this represent to you? Does it make sense? Does it add value? What has been missed, right? So it became a conversation, right? People were more engaged rather than us coming with using a tool or a technology to bring in a report or certain analytics, which could scare the business user. So you bring them in early to the discussion rather than when you have an output.
Another funny story which reminded me when you started this is everybody is speaking about solving a particular problem. There is no problem statement. They are just quoting the title, like, we want to solve this. I tried to speak to like 5 different stakeholders, seniors to mid seniors and everyone, and everybody's like, yes, we want to solve that. We want to solve that. And I kept asking like, what is exactly the problem? We're like, we need to solve this. And there is no metric. There is no proper definition. And finally I said, okay, I'll solve it. How do we measure? Again, there are metrics which are unmeasurable, which will never give you a credit of solving something, right? So these are some of the challenges which I think data leaders will keep facing in the future as well. We speak a lot of these kind of subjects in the AI Fest. Many community leaders are coming together and presenting a lot of real world stories, their experiences on how they navigate through these kind of challenges. So I urge everyone not to miss this chance. Secure their spot. Register today for the AI Fest happening on 2nd of Feb in Dubai. Don't miss the action.
Yeah. And also I want to guarantee something we're gonna highlight during the discussion in the AI Fest is I know people that work in the digital arena, they always have a challenge about the credit. Who's gonna take the credit? I want to assure them that you're gonna be taking the credit, right? It's just another form of engagement, right? Because when the people at the board, when the shareholders, when the top management notices and realizes that AI is really benefiting the business, right? It's going to be obvious who's going to take the credit. So the engagement has changed, the platform have changed, right? It's just how people would approach it.
It will be right to say, right? Today, it's an AI era. A lot of development is happening. The West is developing things at a pace which the world is finding it really hard to catch up with. But somehow we need to learn the game. Otherwise, definitely somebody else who has learned the game to do well is going to go way ahead of us. How do you think business or even tech can keep up with the pace that is being developed on the AI?
Well, that's a very good question, Waseem. And I wanted to close with this by saying that I've been lucky in the past 3 years. I've been exposed to the startup ecosystem. And compared to the corporate, a startup is very agile, is very nimble. They focus on solving real problems. They utilize technology in a very efficient way. They're not afraid to fail, right? And of course, they don't have the budget constraint that us working in corporate have. So as a tech leader or a digital leader working in the AI, I encourage people to reach out to startups, either in supporting them on the tech, in aligning with what they're doing on the tech, because you learn more from the startup ecosystem because of the reasons that I have mentioned. So indulge yourself in either mentorship and strategic advisory or in validating the tech. That will give you a great push in aligning with what is really happening at a very fast pace compared to the corporate culture. Because again, in corporate culture, you have priorities, you have KPIs, and you have a budget,
The
right?
bureaucracy.
And you have, I mean, yeah, I didn't want to say that, but I mean, there is definitely bureaucracy. Whereas in a startup, right, they go for a funding round. If the problem they are solving is great,
Focused on proving something, and everybody is working towards only one thing, and there is no process. Everything is like a vision. They want to prove it. Yes, definitely.
And when you bring that experience, knowledge, even the product itself, like in some cases, there are really great products that are just waiting for adoption, right? And in corporate, we always go, for example, for the big names. Right? But I mean, startups are really, some of them are really solving problems that are very much aligned to our basic need. And again, if it is within the ecosystem that we're in, that also, I mean, they have the fit to market profile. So that is an added advantage to us. So this is an advice I would give the people
larger
in tech.
companies. Yeah. So you said that larger companies, the leaders should start advising startups and early stage concepts and all of those things. How about having some of these ambitious people go to corporates and tell them how they would pivot, how they would move fast, how they would navigate ambiguity? What do you think about this?
It's going to be a very difficult challenge. I mean, I know they face it when they are selling their products to the corporate. They understand the cycle of the corporate. But from my personal experience, I felt that there were challenges in corporate that I learned from startup how to solve them. So through interaction with the startups, I brought in several solutions, right? Not just technical solutions, right? But solutions of how to adopt technology, or how to align, how to benefit from technology, or how do you structure the talent in your team, right? How do you rely on vendors in a corporate world? So these things, definitely there will be a lot of added value.
So 2 decades back or 3 decades back, or even in our parents' generation, whatever they learn in their universities, after that, I don't think anybody would have invested to learn anything new in the next 30, 35 years of their experience. All they gain is real world experience. Today, I think we cannot stop learning. We have to constantly keep learning. And every individual, at least for us who is living in Dubai, I think we should draw inspiration from Dubai itself on how Dubai is growing, how it is not resting, it's constantly running exponentially to grow. Everybody has to invest in themselves to learn the technologies, or at least learn how to use the technologies. Because today I have seen my kids using AI. They don't know it is AI, but they use it. They say, "Hey Siri, tell me a few words which start with E and end with E, and it has to be only 3 letters," and everything. I mean, they are using it. Similarly, business should also start using AI. Does not matter who has to approve it, who shouldn't approve it, and all of those things. They should start using talent management team, content production team, marketing teams, finance teams, internal audit, legal. Everyone, I would say even leaders, should understand how to build custom GPTs and use it for strategy and not just to beautify an email with good text.
No, I totally agree. And for that reason, I believe, again, people in tech, they should network. They should be part of communities of quality. And AI Fest is one of them. The organizers have curated very good agenda and very good leaders that have hands-on and experience. They've had their successes in their careers and in their corporate world. So as an advice, I would say, I mean, I used to have one of the checklists of annually is to read 12 to 13 books. So my team this year were asking me, how many books have you read? And I was like, it's going to be embarrassing. So I said, I read 1.5 book. And they asked, oh, what you changed? What happened? I said, you know what? Books are great. But I found a way to replace knowledge and information, which is in books, by being part of communities of quality, by being part of networking events where you can ask the question and get the experience and the exposure, which resonates with your question. So I encourage people to network a lot because the technology, the pace is quite fast. You need to be very much connected, network a lot, participate a lot, open opportunities to learn, to be coached. This is really very important.
And attend events like AI Fest where industry leaders are coming and downloading or giving up so much of knowledge, right? So AI Fest is the name of the game.
Yep.